Hey, hello! Trees are hard to scan, hard to sculpt, and hard to procedurally generate. One could almost think that trees and CGI don't go well together. Blender has this pretty cool sapling add-on that enables you to get a tree like this, which is pretty detailed, and it's a darn good tree. It has some problems though, like these weird parts that tend to stick out and are not really connected. We can essentially see that those are just individual tubes stuck together, and also we are lacking roots. So our tree always sticks out of the ground. I try to make a more interesting looking tree. Kind of procedural, you have to do a little bit of modeling though. But check it out, as you can see it has a little bit more character. We do have roots, it is one cohesive model, and we have a lot of wicked little witch-like tree branches. And it's quite tweakable, less than the sapling add-on of course. But I'm gonna show you how to create this anyways. Just like life itself, all begins with a single vertex. I'm getting myself a cube, in edit mode hit M, collapse, and you get a single vertex at the origin of the world. I'm gonna go into side view and I will move it over just a tad and I'll create this kind of cross section that you could imagine a tree has. Control R, some loop cuts into the situation, so you have an even distribution of vertices throughout the line. It just looks better. I know you've already guessed that we're using a skin modifier, of course. Now this thickness is alright for me. However, if you tap into edit mode, select all those vertices and hit Ctrl A and slide your mouse, you control the thickness of your skin. Let me get rid of these sunlights so we can see the empty that I'm adding. And now we can use an array modifier and select this empty as the object offset. And if I rotate it around, we get a second part of the tree. Now get yourself like 3 or 4 or 5 different parts of the tree and go into top view and rotate your empty so they are about evenly distributed. Peel your eyes for the simple deform modifier and select twist. If you twist it around the Z-axis, you get this characteristic tree twisting action, which is a tongue twister ironically. I really dislike how my branches are twisting, so I'm just taking my simple deform and moving it up before the skin modifier, so the geometry doesn't distort, but I still dislike this propeller tree swastika that we've created. So perhaps we should create a vertex group. Go into edit mode, select everything that is your tree branches and put it into a group. And now you can put it here under restrictions and swap it around so everything but those branches is twisting. Now what's going on here? Since our branches are staying stationary now, we get this tangled mess. So perhaps just create another empty, move it up where the twisted piece is and select this as the origin. Now by moving it up and down you can decide where the twist has its origin, and up here it should remove our buggy mess. Let's add another simple deform and set it to bend. That seems to be a good trick. If you put this bend modifier before the array, you can even kind of influence the weird shape of this tree and maybe experiment around with that a little bit. It yields fun results. Now next up is the displacement modifier. And we're going to use it to randomly shift our vertices up and down so we get more random tree shapes. Hit new and instead of image or movie select a clouds texture, scale it up as much as you can. If I put this displacement modifier before the array, it will displace each branch the same. So I want to put it after the array. However, I don't want my displacement to affect the skin, so I'm going to slide down the skin after the displacement. Now playing around with the strength and the settings of this texture warps and wobbles my tree around so it looks as unique and individual as you. Now I want to add a subdivision surface modifier, which you can do just by hitting Ctrl 1 or maybe Ctrl 2 if you want 2 levels of subdivision. Now comes the modeling that we actually have to do by hand. If I tap into edit mode, it's pretty hard to do anything. So select those 4 dots and disable the array modifier, disable the deform modifier, this one as well, and now go into wireframe mode. Enable proportional editing with O. I feel like putting it into sharp mode works best for me. Select the tip of your branch and make it slim. Same for the roots. I want my stem to be a little thicker though, so I'm going to scale this one up. Those tree branches though don't tend to be sausages like this. I'll try to make them a little bit more even throughout. Now I want to create some branches, so I'm just extruding out different parts here. Move your camera around a little bit so they extrude in all kinds of weird and fun angles. If you want to be crazy, you can even download a picture of a real branch and use this as a reference. I think I want to have another big branch that's coming out of the side here, and I'm going to make it thinner. Another branch here perhaps. Now let's take a look at those roots. I'm gonna make them go like a little spider web like this perhaps. Don't plan too much ahead, be as random as you can. And now let's tap out and yield our results. This is alright, I feel we could twist it a little bit more. And if your displacement gets too weird like this, maybe try locking it just along the z-axis. And I also overdid it. -3 is perhaps a little bit much. Let's just go to -1 or something. Now in the skin modifier, I'm going to select smooth shading, so we get a smooth tree. And now I urge you to save, because we are going to use a remesh modifier, which can sometimes be a little bit unstable. Set it to voxel, that works best for me, and decrease the voxel size to something like 0.05 meters. And don't forget to put this tick to smooth shading again. The remesher will close all those nasty gaps here and give you a very cool tree model. However, you get all those disconnected parts, so maybe you will have to play around with the voxel size and the thickness of your branches to get the best result. The look of your tree really depends on what you've modeled here. If you do something crazy and crooked, you will get a crazy and crooked tree. If you want something more simple, you can do that as well and change the strength of the displacement to get it more or less uniform. Remember the trick with the simple deform? Let's try this. I'm going to bend it and put it before the array modifier. And I can use that to split the top, which is fun. Oh no. These roots are pretty broken and scattered, so I'm going into edit mode and just increasing the radius a little bit. It seems like I'm missing an entire section of the tree here, so maybe we can get it back by twisting our array empty a little bit. There it is. You have so many cool modifiers available, so I encourage you, try them out, and if you find something cool to play around with, let me know. Get yourself a bark material, there's one included in this project, and you're almost done. This is the model from the tree I showed at the beginning. It's a lot more complex, so it looks better. Spend a good portion of your time on this modeling part. And you know, if you don't want to have any problems with the voxelization, or if you don't want it to be that high poly, you can actually just get rid of this. That mainly matters if you get close to your model.